Before we take a look at finding the volume of a rectangular prism, let's think about what happens when we fill a box full of jelly beans. How can we determine how many jelly beans will fill the box? Well, let's start with something basic. Let's take a look at this square that has the dimensions of 12 inches by 12 inches. We're told this is a square, so every side is going to have the same measurement. If one jelly bean takes up 1 square inch of space, how many jelly beans will fit on the square? Well, if one jelly bean takes up 1 square inch of space, that would be like saying I have 12 jelly beans along one side and another 12 jelly beans along the other side. So if I wanted to know how many jelly beans will fill in this square, I would just need to take 12 times 12, which equals 144. So this square will hold 144 jelly beans. Now imagine that this square is the bottom of our box that we want to fill. So here we have a box, and I've started illustrating some jelly beans. We've got 12 along one side, 12 along another side, and we want to fill this entire box with jelly beans. Well, we know that one layer is going to be 144. But we have 20 inches worth of layers. Well, if this was 12 jelly beans by 12 jelly beans, then we should have 20 jelly beans high if we're using the same measurements, that each jelly bean is 1 square inch. So I know I'm going to have one layer, that's 144 jelly beans, and I'm going to have another 20 layers of jelly beans. So 144 times 20 will give me 2,880. So that means that there are 2,880 jelly beans that would fit in this box as long as each layer had 144 jelly beans. Now this process of finding how many jelly beans are in the box is actually like finding the volume of that box. Volume is 3 dimensions. That's why when we talk about the units of volume, it's cube. It's the area of our base times our height. So just like counting the jelly beans that fit in the container, we're going to be multiplying the area of the base, which when we talk about it in a volume formula is capital B, by the height, and in a volume formula is going to be H. So the volume that we're going to use is capital B times H, area of the base times the height. Now, we're going to look at rectangular prisms today, but just so you're aware, a prism is a solid figure that has polygons for bases. Polygons are shapes that have sides to them, they're not round. So we can have pentagons, we can have hexagons, we can have squares, we can have triangles, and we can have rectangles, which is what we're going to focus on. Just keep in mind a square is also a rectangle. And the lateral faces, so the other sides, are all going to be parallelograms or rectangular in shape as well. When you name a prism, you name it based on the shape of the base. So a pentagonal prism tells me that my bases are in the shape of a pentagon. A triangular prism tells me that the shape of the base is in a triangle, and so on. Here we're going to look at a rectangular prism. So we have rectangles, or in this case a square, for bases, and the sides connecting those squares are going to be rectangles. We're going to find the volume, which we said is capital B times H. Capital B is area of the base. So if we break this apart, to find the area of this square, we're going to take 4 times 4, which is 16. The height is that distance between the bases, which is 6. So when we find the volume of this particular rectangular prism, we're going to take 16 times 6, which is going to be 96, and our units are centimeters. So this is centimeters cubed. And that's all. You find the area of the base and you take it times the height. In this example, it looks like we have a tilted rectangular prism. If you want, you could kind of shade in the side you want to consider to be your base. I'm only seeing one measurement along this base, and that's the 7 meters. So to find the area of this, I would need to know the measurement of this. Well, it's going to correspond to that 3 meters. I'm going to go ahead and write that here. The volume is the area of the base times the height. So to find the area of my base, I'm going to do 7 times 3 is 21. And the height, the distance between those two rectangles that are 3 by 7 meters, is 7. So to find my volume of this rectangular prism, I'm going to take 21 times 7 is 147 meters cubed. So to find the volume of a rectangular prism, or actually any prism, you're going to take the area of the base times the height.